Greetings everyone, Ray Landis here with the beginnings of another guitar adventure, and I'm working on a Squier Bullet Strat, and this Bullet Strat, I have the neck to it right here. Let's see if I can get that up in front of the screen. And I have started to work on this already. I don't know if you're familiar with the Bullet Strat and the texture of the wood on the headstock, but you can see that this is a little bit more finished than what they typically come with. And the reason being is because I've already started to put a finish on this, and it's also on the fretboard, and it is, I'm going to surprise you, it is boiled linseed oil. Now, many of you really like the Squier guitars, the Bullet and the Affinity series guitars, and some of you don't. That's okay. I've found that some of them are really bad, but the majority of them are really good. And I've got one that it's actually right there. I've already gotten a new pick guard for it, put new pickups in it. It's got a brass block. It's also got brass saddles, and then of course this neck is going to go on it. But I wanted to see if I could do something different with the neck. I was going to actually take the logo off the neck too and kind of neuter it so you wouldn't be able to tell what kind of guitar it is. But with the boiled linseed oil, it's got a really nice look to it. And I may, buff it, or maybe lightly steel wool it, or something. But I like just the way that the boiled linseed oil has left the neck kind of like a satin. And I've already put 2 coats on. I'm going to go ahead and put the 3rd coat on with you. And I found out that this type of linseed oil actually, it hardens and cures, and you can recoat within 24 hours. So I've been working on this for a couple days. So this neck has got 2 coats, and I'm going to add the 3rd coat right now. But I wanted to say too that I found out that if you let it dry for about a week, you can actually spray or paint over top of it, and it will stick. So I thought about trying to put a gloss on the headstock as well, which would kind of make the logo stick out, and it would just make it look really nice. And I'm going to put new machine heads on it and new string trees. All the frets are in great shape. The fretboard is in great shape, and it's, I believe, going to be a really nice guitar when I get done. So I'm going to flip this around and move my... I also wanted to show you this Rust-Oleum clear coat that I could also put on the headstock once it's cured for about a week. The only thing, you can't put that on for about a week. You've really got to let it cure. But I think I'm going to tape off the headstock and spray that so that the front, just the front of the headstock is gloss. And that should really dress that up. I did not take... But I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've learned, and I've learned this from some other guys on the internet, on YouTube, and I'm just going to share with you what I've learned and kind of how I've moved forward with this. I've kind of made up some little chocks here out of some pegs. Put that underneath just to kind of keep it off the paper, and I think I'll even put some paper towels under there too. just to kind of keep the oil from soaking in to my desk blotter. Alright, so I've got a rag here. This is just a microfiber cloth. I've got another one here. So I'm just going to take this and I'll shake it up a little bit. I'm going to take this, and it's probably not toxic, but I'm wearing gloves anyway just because I think it's a good idea. I found, that almost anything will sink into your skin. It's not really good for you. But yeah, I'm just going to take a little bit of that oil, just get it on there, and then just begin to rub it on. And just, you don't have to be real particular about it because it's oil and it kind of soaks in, and once I let it sit for about 20 minutes, I'll wipe it off. But you can see it just kind of goes on really nice with a rag. Put a nice liberal coat on it, and put some on the back. It smells good too, actually. And then just go ahead and just rub it on all the areas. And I want to be quite liberal with it because I am going to wipe off the excess after it sits for about 20 minutes or so. But let's see if I can get that in the camera there. I'm just going to coat everything. You can see it's shiny all over. And then I'll just take and do the same thing on the front. Just do it right on the fretboard. Just coat everything really nice. Make sure you got it on all the edges. And like I say, it smells really good too. So I've got it on all of the areas, on all parts, and even on the heel joint. Because it doesn't add any thickness to it. It soaks in. So it's not going to add any thickness. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cap back on. And I'm going to let this sit for about 20 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and wipe it off. So for now, I'm going to let that sit. And I will be back in a little bit to finish it up. Okay, I am back. And it's been sitting for about 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves back on, just to protect my hands. And you might be thinking that, well, with oil, it's going to be on the neck. You're going to be playing the guitar. You're going to be touching the oil. But in reality, the neck is not going to be wet. It's going to be finished, because the oil actually serves as a finish, which kind of was surprising to me because I think of oil as something that doesn't necessarily dry, but there is actually a drying agent in it. And if you read the label, it says it dries to a slightly glossy finish. It also nourishes, restores, and protects the wood. It becomes water and stain resistant, and it's actually suitable for all kinds of wood. So I ordered this from Amazon. And there are different brands that you can buy. I bought this because it was in a container I thought that was easily manageable here in my office. They sell it in like large, tin cans or, aluminum cans that are a little bulkier. I've never used linseed oil prior to this, so I wanted something that was manageable. And I thought, for me, this format was, really a good way to get started. I do want to mention, though, before I put the first coat of linseed oil on, I did do some sanding. I didn't sand the headstock because I didn't want to take off the serial number, and I did not want to take off the logo. I decided against that. So right now, um, those are going to stay. So I did not sand the headstock. However, I did sand the fretboard, and I sanded the back of the neck, and I even sanded a little bit at the heel joint, at the heel of the neck, because I just wanted to like take the surface and kind of open up the pores a little bit. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Open up the pores so that the oil would would sink in a little bit better. It would absorb a little bit better. But I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera down again and give you a look at how it's still showing quite a bit of wetness. Now, it's not so much on the fretboard, because the fretboard, you can tell, is a little more porous than the other areas of wood, which they still get coated and they still have some pores to absorb, but at the same time it doesn't sink in as much as it does on the fretboard. So you can see the fretboard has started to somewhat dry already, mainly because it's sinking into the wood more. Now, I did work on the frets a little bit before I did this. I used some sandpaper, and I did a little bit of work to try to roll the fingerboard edges so that, ultimately the neck would feel better. But all the frets were already level. They weren't real sharp. They just had a few places where they were just a little bit in need of some help. So I just kind of nursed it along a little bit, and I think this neck feels really, really good. So I'm going to take my other fiber cloth, microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to start to wipe off any excess oil that is still not soaked into the wood. And it's going to give me a nice finished look, but at the same time it's still got to dry overnight before I can do anything. If I wanted to put additional coats, I think I'm only going to do these 3 coats, but if I wanted to do additional coats on this, I would have to wait 24 hours to do that. But I think these 3 coats are going to be enough for what I'm looking to do. And I'm going to try, if I can wait, to take this headstock and spray some gloss on it, because I want that front to be really nice and glossy. I don't know if I can be patient, because all the parts will be available to put this thing back together within the next couple days. You can see some of the oil now getting onto the paper. I've got several coats of paper there, and that oil will soak into things, so you definitely want to have something to soak that up. That's why I've got paper towels there by the headstock. But you can really rub this neck and really rub off whatever excess, because you're not going to take it all off. You're just using a cloth, and you can see it actually. It looks really nice. It makes that bare wood, or that very mildly finished wood, come alive. Now that looks a lot better than the standard bullet Strat neck, and it's supposed to harden. So you're supposed to actually get like a little bit of a hardening effect. So I'm going to get this neck all dialed in with its hardware, the tuners, and I will be back, of course, with the rest of the build, and I will share with you the final product of what I'm going to come up with. Again, it's over there. It ended up being the wrong color. I ordered a nice gold. It was like supposed to be Aztec gold, and it ended up being seafoam green. I already had a seafoam green guitar, so I figured I would try something a little bit different with this one, and I'll share the full build with you. But if you gain something from this, I just want you to know that this is a lot easier than I thought it would be. I really I balked and didn't get any like finishing oil to work on anything up until this point. But hopefully this has encouraged you to try. It's so easy. It's probably the easiest finish that I've ever worked with, and it really does make a difference. And I think that it's going to be one of my go-tos. I know there's a couple other kinds of oil you can use. One of them would be tung oil. They use that a lot. And the other one would be gunstock oil. And they both dry to a finish that was, that would be really nice for, guitar body and headstock. So you can use color underneath of boiled linseed oil if you can get the color to sink into the wood, and then you can coat over top of that with the boiled linseed oil. So if you wanted to do like a guitar body, you could use some sort of dye or stain, and then go over it with coats of boiled linseed oil. You can go as much as 10 or 20 or even 30 coats to really make it nice thick coating. But yeah, if this has encouraged you in some way, be sure to give me a thumbs up, blue thumb, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time for the next guitar adventure. Take care.